Good evening, and welcome to Fine Point, where no narrative is sacred, no media hoax is safe, and we zero in on the big picture. I'm your host, Rion. Imagine, if you will, you're a Democrat. You're a Democrat whose money and power is on the line. Your entire future rests squarely on the shoulders of this woman.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
Okay. No, I'm big sister.
In person and on camera, Kamala possesses as much charm as a bowl of worms. She's going up against one of the most popular men in cultural memory, and in an election year where Democrats couldn't be in a worse spot. Inflation pain, border catastrophes, and world wars, all leading straight to the Democrat policies.
We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States.
From carrying on affairs with all the right men, married or not, Kamala is a California Democrat who never had to run against a Republican. So she's definitely untested. She was the most unpopular candidate on the Democratic stage. Then you take the fact that as vice president, she was appointed by Biden to be border czar, to oversee the worst chapter in U.S. immigration history transpire.
But the vice presidents agreed, among the multiple other things that have her leading, and I appreciate it, agreed to lead our diplomatic effort.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Wednesday put Vice President Kamala Harris in charge of efforts to stem the flow of migrants at the U.S.-Mexico border.
To which she whipped out her wordsmithing toolbox and pulled out all the stops.
Do not come.
We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe.
But now, of course, we find her big money teams scrubbing the internet and denying that she ever was in charge of the border. But erasing the internet has its limits. It's hard to Clinton-side words she has uttered herself on national TV.
I'm in charge, for example, of coordinating what we call a root causes strategy. What are the causes of people leaving?
And instead of listening to Dr. Jill Biden, Kamala just wouldn't keep her mouth shut.
Certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time. You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
What we can see, what we believe can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. What can be, unburdened by what has been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been.
Who we can be, unburdened by who we have been.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. Where we can be, unburdened by where we have been, and unburdened by where we are right now.
Obama doesn't think Kamala can win privately, but had to publicly save face with the party. So now Team Kamala has leapt into overdrive. They need to remake Kamala. They need to fairy godmother the hell out of this woman. And here's another problem. The Harris campaign is still scrambling to figure out how to introduce Kamala in her new role. They have a $100 million war chest raised from the last few days, and some are actually questioning the sourcing of that money, but that's another story. Little of that money has been spent yet. They debuted their first ad yesterday morning, but it was nothing to write home about. According to Politico, the race is on to define Kamala. Translation? The race is on to transform Kamala. This isn't Kamala time, this is Camarella time. They need to take a cackling, pill-popping, graceless bullfrog and turn her overnight into a poetic, sober, graceful stateswoman. Pull out all the stops, bring in Hollywood. This is a job for the big boys and girls.
The discoveries and the work we can do in space. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are going to see. You're going to literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes.
So after 4 days, here's what they bippity-boppity-booed. First, they needed to make it seem Kamala is this unstoppably cool and popular force amongst the gum-chewing Gen Z TikTokers. So they do what any savvy PR team does. They lean in full body into Kamala's word garbage tendencies, take all her gaffes and heroize them into memes, music videos, and lovingly cut word salad sound bites. Turn her biggest weakness into her strength. They're taking her coconut tree line and turning it into a good thing. Being hashtag coconut pilled is now the cool thing to do. The only way to do all of this, though, is via TikTok. Add to all of this some pop star whose album, Brat, is all the rage this summer. The grungy pop star posted a tweet seemingly endorsing Madame Kakala, and Madame Kakala's team fully embraced this endorsement, changing Kamala's branding to match this grungy pop star's branding, changing Kamala's banner to the same vomit-colored green, changing the font style to the same font style as the Brat album, and they're embracing this title, that she's a brat. So, what's being a brat? Here it is in the words of the singer herself.
You're just like that girl who is a little messy and likes to party and like maybe says some like dumb things sometimes, who like feels herself but then also like maybe has a breakdown, but kind of like parties through it. It's very honest, it's very blunt, a little bit volatile. Yeah, like does like dumb things, but like it's Brat, you're Brat. That's Brat.
Yeah, I wanna dance with me. I wanna dance AG. I wanna dance with George. I wanna dance Sophie.
And according to the needle-necked anti-gun activist David Hogg, this is a winning strategy. Quote, using memes and music, the Harris campaign has already opened the door to communicate with the younger generations about climate change, gun reform, abortion rights, and more. Kamala is a brat, David Hogg says. And then there's the Wine Moms Unite movement, fully embracing the sloshed middle-aged wino, the only real demographic that can actually relate to Kamala. Also, a TikTok contribution to society. You get the picture. The fairy godmothers in Hollywood are working overtime to create Camarella, a magical transformation in which all of this woman's words are genius. Every policy is unburdened by what has been, and world leaders quake in fear of her formidable popularity among wine moms and dance hooligans.
And then they launched. Yeah. Instead of saying, no, we can't, let's say, yes, we can.
And that's my opening.
For all our viewers asking where One America News is heading in the future, we would like to introduce you to OAN Live. OAN Live is the best way to stay up to date on all of the hard-hitting, straight-shooting, national and international headlines. And the best part is, OAN Live is only $4.99 per month. All the credible, honest, unbiased reporting One America News offers at a fraction of the cost of cable. Just go to OANN.com to easily sign up for OAN Live and stay informed.